Congressman, how significant is this?
It's momentous. The architect of mass murder and mass rape and hostage taking is dead, and the world is safer because of it. And it's a small measure of justice for Hersh Goldberg, Poland, and the hundreds of other individuals, both Israeli and American, who were murdered on October 7th or who were taken hostages afterwards.
There are still 7 American hostages being held by Hamas in Gaza. Does this increase the chances of a ceasefire deal and their release?
Yes, it does. Sinwar was the insurmountable obstacle to peace. He had no interest in negotiating or releasing the hostages. And Hamas now is at a fork in the road. Hamas can select an individual in the same vein of Sinwar, maybe even his brother, who would continue the same nihilistic agenda. And one, that individual will be killed by the IDF. And two, Hamas will continue to invite death and destruction upon it and continue to immiserate the Palestinian people. Or Hamas can unconditionally release the hostages and thereby open up pathways for peace.
There's real concern. We just heard Conriquez talking about this, real concern about retaliation for Sinwar's death, that Hamas terrorists will kill or hurt these hostages that they're still holding.
Yes, every day that these hostages are held in these tunnels is a day where we all have to be deeply concerned about their welfare. Remember that Hamas executed children in front of their parents. Hamas had 6 hostages film videos to their families and then shot them execution style. Hamas is an organization that has no morality and that will engage in the most barbaric behavior imaginable. So, of course, we have to be concerned. And that is why this day and this inflection point is a glimmer of hope that perhaps Hamas will select somebody who wants to end this death and destruction by releasing the hostages.
President Biden said this moment gives us an opportunity to finally end the war in Gaza. There's still a lot of things that need to be surmounted in order for that to happen.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, the hostages have to be released. But also, there needs to be a day-after strategy that, one, reconstructs Gaza with education and infrastructure and security, and that, two, holds no role for Hamas in post-war governance. And to effectuate those things, we're going to need Israeli military presence, and we're also going to need Palestinian-led reconstruction efforts. So there is a long road ahead, but the first step is hostage release, and this day and this event creates new hope for that hostage release.
We just showed some video of the big protests happening by the hostage families in Tel Aviv tonight in reaction. Reaction in Gaza has been quite muted, at least so far. Some Palestinians are reportedly actually saying they're happy that Sinwar is dead because it might mean an end to the war. Do you think there's a chance that killing Yahya Sinwar, this legendary leader of this terrible, terrible terrorist group, that it could finally break the stranglehold that Hamas has inside Gaza?
Yes, I think we need to be cautious about ever investing one event or one individual with that much political freight. The reality is that amongst the greatest victims of Hamas have been the Palestinian people themselves. Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon have channeled Iranian money and Iranian ideology into an agenda that has brought only destruction and misery to the Palestinian people or to the Lebanese people. And those people and that civil society are the ones who stand the most to benefit from having some kind of a positive governance agenda. But I think that we're going to be that's going to be a process to evolve towards that state, which is why we need Palestinian-led rebuilding efforts in Gaza to offer that alternative to Hamas that allows Palestinians to see that it doesn't always have to be this way, that this cycle of destruction and death does not have to continue.
Yeah, well, I think right now, nobody wants to deal with Hamas inside Israel. It would have to be somebody else they're dealing with to represent the Palestinians inside Gaza. Congressman Jake Auchincloss, really appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.